Good to have you here. We have a lot of good people here today, and we want to thank Educare for letting us come to visit and to take a good look at a wonderful facility that focuses on our most important mission on earth, and that's raising our children. When I was growing up, Jacqueline Kennedy, the widow of our late President Kennedy, once said that if you bungle raising your children, nothing else in life matters. And it's very, very important that we take good care of the children of Illinois, children of America. And that begins at birth. From birth to 5, there's tremendous learning opportunities for our kids. We have to get them off to a healthy start and definitely a good learning start. And that's what early childhood education is all about. I'm committed to that. I think we all believe that how important that is. It's one of the very best investments that government can ever make. And it's also important that we take good care of the health of our children and make sure that every child is welcomed into this world. Carl Sandburg was the poet laureate of Illinois, and before he was poet laureate of the United States, and he once said that the birth of a baby is God's opinion that the world should go on. And I believe those words, and I think everyone here does as well. All these little babies here, we want to make sure that they have a great future, and we want to take good care of them when they're born. And so there's a number of bills that I'm going to be signing today that are important protections for newborns to make sure that they are safe and sound and they get off to a healthy start and a learning start. And I think it's important that we in Illinois at all times take good care of these very young and special children. Boys and girls who come into this world in the 21st century are going to be facing a lot of challenges that I personally didn't have to face, and we want to make sure that everything we can do as a society, as a state, we can help our families with respect to raising their kids and making sure that our kids are taken good care of. So I do want to have some of the other folks who are with us today have a word to say. Diana Rauner is the Executive Director of the Ounce of Prevention Fund, which is a very great not-for-profit group in Illinois that works so hard to make sure that we take good care of all of our kids. Everybody's in and nobody's left out. We've got to have a society that is focused on helping our children grow up the right way. We know there are troubles out there on our streets. Sometimes our streets are under siege, and we must make sure we have public safety and we protect all. And part of that is making sure we have activities for children and young people that are positive activities that keep them out of trouble. We need to get them off to a good start with good values. We're going to never, ever let gangs and predators take over our streets. We're going to always resist that. We will prevail. But part of prevailing is investing in important missions like Ounce of Prevention, taking good care of our kids. And without further ado, Diana, why don't you come forward?
I'm Diana Rauner, the Executive Director of the Ounce of Prevention Fund, and we are delighted that so many of you are here today in support of this important legislation that promises to safeguard our most important assets, our babies and our youngest children. This building opened its doors 10 years ago with a goal of starting early, at birth, to change the academic and life outcomes for hundreds of children and their families, giving them the skills they need to enter kindergarten ready to learn. And we're here today because the governor, along with our state legislators, including Representative Monique Davis, Representative Michael Carberry, and some of the other bill sponsors, also know that learning can only take place if children are safe and healthy. The bills that will be signed today are important steps in that direction. I'd also like to recognize Alderman Pat Dowell for being here today to show her support for young children. Thank you. The Ounce of
Senator Trotter's here.
Oh, and Senator Trotter, welcome. The Ounce of Prevention Fund and Educare are honored to be part of today's signings, and we look forward to future opportunities to work with everyone here to give young children the best opportunity to succeed in school and in life.
If kids come to school and they're not healthy, If they grow up and they come to us and they've had absolutely no training, no learning, it's very difficult to change them once they reach the elementary school level. I really applaud Governor Quinn because he has put education as a top burner in our state. He's doing the best he can with the minimum dollars that he has. And Governor Quinn, I want to thank you personally. Me and my family, we know that you recognize that our children's lives are important. And you have started, of course, again, with the babies. An ounce of prevention is to be commended. Thank you, Governor.
Well, thank you. I want to thank Representative Davis for her heartfelt commitment to education, lifelong commitment, and understanding that education does begins at birth. We believe it begins at birth. And these little boys and girls here today, they have a lot to learn, and they're ready to learn, and they're anxious to learn. So we want to make sure that we give them a good fighting start and they have a healthy start. Okay, we got 2 babies there. There you go. All right. Now, this is the very first bill that I'm going to sign into law. It's been sponsored by a new representative, but a representative who really understands the community. He's a grassroots guy. He believes in education. He believes in helping everyday people. He's really been a positive addition to the Illinois General Assembly. I want to bring forward Representative Mike Carberry to say a few words about his bill. Mike, take it from there.
Thank you. Thanks, Monique. Thank you all very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And our bill, the Shaken Baby, is along the same lines as protecting our young, just like we're trying to do here. And what it does is it gets the Illinois State Police on the website. It's the Violent Offenders Against Youth, where if results in the death of a child from a shaken baby syndrome, it will be reported and it will be on the Illinois State Police website for all to view those offenders. Again, I want to thank you very much for having me here. These are great bills, and taking care of our youth is paramount in the state of Illinois. Thank you very much.
And we've had terrible instances in the past where babies have been abandoned. We don't want that to happen. We want to always have a place where babies are welcome. And Senator Trotter really has helped make sure this whole area of the law is clear to all, no matter who they are. And this is landmark legislation I'm going to be signing today on the subject of the safe haven. And Donnie, why don't you come forward and say a few words about it, if you would.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor. Those from the Office of Prevention, my colleagues. You know, there's 177 of us in the legislature. You know, that's 59 in the Senate, another 118 in the House. And all of us repeatedly run on that children are first, that it is a priority for all of us. And this legislation is, again, just indicative of the commitment that we've made to the children, we've made to our fellow constituents and residents, that it's important that we deal with our children or embrace our children at the inception of life. You spoke of, Governor, the Safe Haven bill. It's no one's fault that they're born, especially not the child. It is incumbent upon us to keep all children safe, and also incumbent upon us to ensure that their lives are safeguarded, embraced, and made a priority so they can ultimately become good citizens, viable citizens here in the state of Illinois. Our children are number one. As someone who grew up in this community, went to DuSable High School, I remember when this was Farron Elementary School. So these are my babies, and they should all be your babies as well. This legislation ensures that we as a state recognizes that these are our children, and we're going to do the best that we can to make sure that their lives are healthy, safe, and also go forward and be productive. Thank you very much, Governor, for making this a priority.
Good man. Thank you, Donnie. Senator Trotter is really a leader over and over again over many years in this issue. With us today, we're in the 3rd Ward. It's a very important ward. It's a historic ward. Down the street is DuSable High School. DuSable High School is where Harold Washington went, and many, many other great Americans and great Illinoisans and great Chicagoans. And Donnie Trotter is one of them. There you go. And Pierre DuSable, who founded this city, deserves our everlasting gratitude. But the alderman of this ward has been just a strong, strong advocate of safety, of taking care of children, of making sure our kids, when they're on the streets, are protected. We are not going to let the forces of evil and gangs take over. We're going to fight back with every ounce of our fiber. And someone who's been doing that as long as I've known her is Alderman Pat Dahl. And Pat, come forward and say a few words.
Thank you, Governor.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, they say you can invest on the front end or you can invest on the back end. You can invest in children and education, or you can invest in corrections and jail cells. And I'm glad to say that Governor Quinn, that this legislation supported by the members of the Illinois General Assembly does that to invest in our children on the front end. And there's no better place to demonstrate that commitment than here at the grand opening or to be opened of EduCare, where children come first. And so I'm very happy to have you in the ward today to demonstrate your commitment to my constituents who are very supportive of this effort. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Pat. Now, what I'm going to do is go over to the table. We invite everybody to join us, and we're going to sign all 4 of these laws. And we better give you one to start out with. Yeah. There we go. Yay. Pass them around here. Everybody will get one. There's plenty of them. There you go. Thank you. Okay. All right. Be careful. Yeah. Get over on this side. Okay. There we go. One down. Okay, there you go. Make sure they're right. Now these are 4 bills to protect children in Illinois. I think that's our highest calling. I want to thank everyone for coming here today to make this possible. We have a lot more work to do, but the longest journey begins at the first step.